George Russell has been shot. In the Gilded Age, Season 3, Episode 8, everything has been changed, and the very foundation of New York's power is shaking. The elite are whispering, enemies are moving in the shadows, and Bertha Russell's carefully built empire may be crumbling beneath her feet. But this isn't just a tragedy, it's a turning point. Because if George dies, the Russell dynasty may die with him, and someone new is already waiting to take their place. From betrayal and heartbreak to political chaos and a secret engagement that could shock the entire city, Episode 8 is not just a finale. It's a reckoning. As the dust settles after the shocking shooting at the end of Episode 7, the question that hangs over everything is, did George Russell survive? The powerful railroad tycoon, the man who reshaped industry and social order alike, may now be fighting for his life. And that single gunshot might trigger the collapse of the very world he built. There are whispers inside the hospital, rumors spreading like wildfire through drawing rooms and ballrooms alike. Some say George is dead. Others claim he's in critical condition, too weak to speak. But everyone agrees on one thing: nothing will ever be the same again. If George succumbs to his injuries, Bertha will be thrust into a battle on multiple fronts. Without his strength behind her, she'll have to hold on to her social crown while fending off predators in business and society alike. The same people who once feared the Russells might now see them as vulnerable, and that's when the knives come out. George's shooting wasn't random. It was calculated, and that means someone powerful wants him gone. Clay, the disgraced broker with a vendetta, is still missing. Did he orchestrate the attack, or is he just a pawn in a much bigger game? Rival railroad magnates have everything to gain if George falls. His control of the copper mine and Merrick shares made him too dominant. Taking him out may have been the only way to shift the balance of power. And then there's the political dimension. George's ambition to electrify New York was no small matter. Powerful industrialists, corrupt officials, even those close to Edison, may have seen him as a threat to their control over the city's future. Removing him would halt progress or redirect it in their favor. Episode 8 won't just focus on George's recovery or death, it will unravel a deeper conspiracy that could redefine the show's entire power structure. At the same time, Bertha stands at a dangerous crossroads. If George dies, she becomes the face of the Russell legacy. But without his support, can she maintain her position at the top? She may have to transform, become colder, shrewder, even more ruthless. And the Newport Ball, once her crowning achievement, now becomes a symbol of uncertainty. Will she cancel it in grief, risking her social status? Or will she host it anyway, turning it into a tribute to her fallen husband and a demonstration of her unbroken power? Either choice comes with risk, and both paths are filled with enemies eager to strike. The Russell name, once untouchable, now bleeds like everyone else. Meanwhile, Larry Russell is now standing at the edge of a cliff. If George dies, Larry must step up, not just in business, but as the emotional anchor of the family. But is he ready? His recent heartbreak with Marian has already shaken him. His father's death could either harden him into a formidable leader or shatter him entirely. Episode 8 may show Larry beginning his rise, or his breakdown. And if George survives but is permanently injured, a different kind of power shift begins. Larry may be forced into the spotlight while George recovers, and that puts pressure on every single decision he makes, every alliance he forms, every secret he keeps. And speaking of secrets, the attack on George may also expose more than just political plots. What if someone inside the Russell household knew something? What if the staff heard whispers, noticed unusual visitors, or saw signs of betrayal and said nothing? Miss Andre may be gone, but her reach may not be. The lines between friend and foe are blurring, and Episode 8 is poised to reveal just how many knives are aimed at the Russells from within. George's fate is the match. But what it sets on fire could engulf everyone. As Bertha Russell faces the greatest crisis of her life, all eyes turn to the Newport Ball, the glittering event that was supposed to cement her dominance in high society. But now, with George Russell clinging to life, or possibly already gone, what was meant to be a celebration may become a battlefield. The choice before Bertha is brutal. Cancel the ball and risk looking weak in front of the very elite she fought to join? Or go forward, using the tragedy as fuel for an even more commanding performance? Either decision could define her legacy, and both paths are soaked in risk. Bertha is no stranger to ambition, but episode 8 may test the limits of what even she can endure. Because if she falters now, there are vultures circling. And one of them isn't just coming for her place at the top, they're coming to replace her. Bertha's entire life has been about power, perception, and perfection. From the moment she stepped into New York society, she has clawed her way to the top using charm, strategy, and unshakable will. But with George possibly out of the picture, Bertha is exposed like never before. She knows that in the world of old money and social rivalry, weakness is fatal. Even grief is a luxury she can't afford. That's why she may double down, turning the Newport Ball into a fierce display of strength. She could reframe the event as a tribute to George, inviting the most powerful names in the city to witness her resilience. But even that bold move won't guarantee her victory, because the throne she's trying to defend may already have a new challenger. Whispers are growing louder about a rising family from Philadelphia, newly arrived in New York with vast railroad fortunes and political ties. Rumor has it that the young widow of a steel baron is setting her sights on society, and she's not coming to play fair. She's bold, wealthy, and unburdened by the rules of old money. And unlike Bertha, she doesn't care about winning favor with the Astors or the Van Rhynes. She wants to replace them. Episode 8 could introduce her in the most dramatic way possible by making her a surprise guest at the ball. Imagine Bertha standing at the center of her own triumph, only to realize the attention has shifted to someone younger, fresher, and perhaps more dangerous. It wouldn't just be social rivalry, it would be war. And this time, Bertha might not hold the advantage. This new threat isn't just a challenge to Bertha's social standing, it's a direct hit to the Russell Empire. Because behind this rising family is a powerful railroad competitor, one who has quietly been buying up shares, forming alliances, and waiting for the right moment to strike. With George weakened or gone, and Larry still emotionally reeling, the Russell business holdings could be vulnerable to takeover. Episode 8 might hint at hostile moves being made, secret meetings behind closed doors, and former allies suddenly turning their backs. The same men who once praised George may now align themselves with this new force, claiming it's what's best for the future of industry. And Bertha, who fought so hard for her seat at the table, may find herself fighting to keep the table from being ripped out from under her. But Bertha isn't the only one at risk. The entire Russell household is beginning to crack under the pressure. Staff members are on edge, and old loyalties are starting to fade. Miss Andre's departure created a vacuum, but her secrets may live on. Episode 8 could reveal letters, journal entries, or even whispered confessions that show she was involved in something much deeper than gossip. What if she knew about the plot against George? What if she wasn't acting alone? Her return, even just in name, could send a chill through the Russell home. And if she passed information to this new rival family, the entire Russell legacy could be in jeopardy. Bertha may not just be fighting for her place in society, she could be battling for her family's survival. And then there's Gladys. Far from the chaos of New York, she's thriving in England, forging a bond with the Duke of Buckingham and enjoying a rare taste of freedom. For the first time, she's living without her mother's constant pressure. But episode 8 may yank her back into the storm. If George dies or is severely injured, Gladys will be forced to choose, remain in England and start a new life, or return to New York to support a crumbling family. Her decision could reshape her arc entirely. If she comes back, she might arrive with shocking news, an engagement to the Duke, or worse, a secret marriage. If she stays away, Bertha may see it as abandonment, while society sees it as scandal. And if she comes back only to find the Russell name fading, her return could signal a new chapter, either as the rebellious duchess who saves her family, or the defiant daughter who walks away for good. Bertha's gamble, the rise of a mysterious new rival, the business empire under siege, and Gladys' independence all converge into a perfect storm. Episode 8 is no longer just a season finale, it's a reckoning for every Russell. The very structure of the Gilded Age is shifting, and when the dust clears, not everyone will be standing. Because power, once shaken, rarely returns quietly, and the world of the Gilded Age has never been so ready to burn. While the world outside trembles from George Russell's possible demise, inside the drawing rooms and private parlors of old New York, another kind of storm brews, one built on heartbreak, regret, and long-hidden truths. Marian Brooke, once so confident in her choices, is now haunted by the weight of a misunderstanding that may have destroyed something real. She ended her engagement with Larry Russell after believing he had gone to the Haymarket Club for immoral reasons. But the revelation in episode 7 that it was all a mistake, that Jack, the inventive footman, had been the one to accompany Larry, has shattered her pride and forced her to face what she may have lost. As episode 8 unfolds, Marian stands at a crossroads between bitterness and redemption. Her heart is torn between duty to family, fear of scandal, and a desperate yearning to undo what she's done. If George dies, Larry's world will be consumed by grief and sudden responsibility. He will be thrust into the center of a collapsing empire, expected to lead while still trying to breathe through his own heartbreak. Marian, realizing this, may step forward in a way that surprises even herself. Episode 8 could see her try to repair the damage, not with words alone, but with action. A quiet visit to the Russell home, a letter of apology, or perhaps even a public act that defies her Aunt Agnes and the rules of decorum she's lived under for so long. But love, in this world, rarely comes without consequence. If Marian pursues Larry again, she risks everything: her place in society, her family's favor, and the very reputation she has worked to protect. Still, the pull may be too strong to ignore. Their reunion, if it comes, will not be simple. Larry is no longer the carefree heir Marian once knew. If George's fate is sealed, Larry may be hardened, changed by the weight of expectation and grief. He might pull away, too consumed by duty to allow love in. Or worse, he might push Marian away deliberately, believing she deserves a life free from the chaos of his family. Episode 8 could give us a bittersweet encounter, a shared look across the room, a conversation half-finished, a moment heavy with unspoken emotion. Or, in a bold twist, it could give us something more: a secret engagement, an impulsive elopement, or a quiet vow to wait for one another until the storm has passed. Whatever the outcome, Marian's story is no longer about finding love. It's about reclaiming her voice in a world that demands silence from women like her. But Marian isn't the only Van Rhijn battling demons in episode 8. Oscar, once the embodiment of charm and confidence, has been shattered by the death of John Adams. For years, he hid his true self behind flirtations and polished smiles, terrified of what would happen if the truth ever came out. But now, with John gone, the mask is slipping. Grief has cracked open a door Oscar spent his whole life keeping shut. And on the other side is a truth that could destroy or liberate him. Episode 8 may finally push Oscar to reveal who he really is, not just to himself, but to the people who define his world. Marian, who already suspects, may become his confidant. In a rare moment of vulnerability, Oscar could open up to her, trusting her in a way he never has before. Their shared pain, hers over Larry, his over John, could forge a bond that defies convention. But the greater confrontation is yet to come. Agnes, the matriarch of the Van Rhijns, stands as the final barrier between Oscar and freedom. Her rigid values, her obsession with appearances, and her cold adherence to tradition have always ruled their home. If Oscar comes out to her, the fallout could be explosive. Will Agnes reject him, severing the last fragile ties that hold their family together? Or will she, in a moment of shocking humanity, accept him, not out of understanding, but out of love? Episode 8 may not offer a clean resolution, but it could mark the beginning of a seismic shift in the Van Rhijn household. Agnes's reaction, whatever it is, will ripple through every future storyline. If she changes, even slightly, it could open the door to a softer, more complex version of herself. If she hardens further, Oscar may leave for good, turning his back on the legacy that never truly welcomed him. Either way, the Van Rhynes are no longer the untouched symbol of old money. They are crumbling, quietly but surely, and society is watching. The weight of all these emotional arcs, Marian's regret, Oscar's grief, Agnes's stubbornness, is amplified by the larger chaos that surrounds them. The city is in flux. The old families are struggling to maintain relevance. The new elite are rewriting the rules. And in the middle of it all, these personal stories feel even more poignant, more urgent. Because in a world obsessed with power, it is love, identity, and truth that carry the greatest cost. Episode 8 doesn't just close a season, it tests every character's strength, loyalty, and purpose. As the season nears its final moment, the choices these characters make will define not just their futures, but the direction of the Gilded Age itself. Marian may reclaim her heart. Oscar may reclaim his truth. Agnes may face her fears. Or they may all fall, trapped by the very rules they once upheld. And in their fall, something new may rise, something bolder, more honest, and more dangerous than anything New York has seen before. As the city reels from the aftermath of George Russell's shooting and society begins to fracture under the weight of uncertainty, one name slowly begins to resurface: Miss Andre. Dismissed and disgraced for leaking tabloid stories, her departure from the Russell household was swift and scandalous. But in a world like the Gilded Age, the past has a way of returning when it's least expected, and most dangerous. Episode 8 may see the quiet return of a familiar shadow, because Miss Andre was never just a gossip. She was a watcher, a collector of secrets, and if she chooses revenge, no one in the Russell orbit will be safe. Not Bertha, not Larry, not even the servants who turned a blind eye. Because secrets, once weaponized, are more powerful than bullets, and Miss Andre might just have the arsenal to blow everything wide open. There are whispers that Miss Andre didn't leave New York at all, that she's been hiding in plain sight, slipping through the social undercurrent, waiting for the perfect moment to strike. And George's shooting may have given her exactly what she needs: a distraction. With the Russells consumed by chaos, their defenses are down, their attention divided. Episode 8 could reveal that Miss Andre has been gathering new allies: a former maid with a grudge, a rejected suitor of Gladys, or even a rival family eager to exploit her inside knowledge. She knows how Bertha operates. She knows the weak points of the estate. She knows where the family keeps its most sensitive documents, correspondence, and financial ledgers. And perhaps most chilling of all, she may know something about the shooting. What if Miss Andre wasn't just a bystander in this growing war? What if she played a part in orchestrating the hit on George? Or worse, what if she has evidence that someone inside the Russell household did? A forged signature, a secret meeting, a misplaced note in a ledger. All of it could point to a deeper conspiracy, one that doesn't just target George's body, but the entire legacy of the Russells. And Miss Andre, fueled by humiliation and rage, might not be working for herself this time. She could be the tool of the new rival family, the mysterious widow from Philadelphia, eager to dismantle Bertha's empire piece by piece. In Episode 8, a single piece of gossip, leaked at the right moment, could set off a scandal that reverberates across every drawing room from Fifth Avenue to Newport. Bertha, for all her strength and calculation, may not see this threat coming. She's focused on the ball, the press, the perception of power. She's trying to show society that the Russells are unshaken by tragedy, but beneath her grand gowns and bold declarations, cracks are forming. The staff is uneasy. Larry is emotionally distant. The calls from their financial partners have gone from congratulatory to cautious. Episode 8 might show Bertha pushed to a breaking point, not by her grief, but by betrayal. A letter in the mail. A front-page scandal. An uninvited guest at her ball who makes a dramatic claim in front of her peers. The humiliation could be public, devastating, and impossible to undo. And what if the betrayal isn't just from Miss Andre? What if someone still inside the Russell estate, someone Bertha trusts, has turned against her? A servant seduced by money, a clerk bribed by rivals, a friend who envies her rise. Episode 8 might give us a shocking moment where Bertha realizes she's been watched, manipulated, and outplayed. For a woman who controls every detail, losing control could be the ultimate punishment. And with George either dead or incapacitated, she'll have no one to turn to but herself.